Have new information about a family of 4 missing from Harrison County. Gerardo Roman, Alondra Rodriguez, and their 2 kids, 8-year-old Giselle and 5-year-old Gerardo Jr., have been missing since the 15th of November. Rodriguez and the kids were seen on a game camera recording 2 days after they were reported missing. KLTV7's Jamie Boyum has the update.
Harrison County Sheriff B.J. Fletcher tells us he thinks the case is baffling.
There's been no contact, no family contact. Nobody seems to know where they're at.
He says at this point it's still considered a welfare check.
It's not illegal to pick up and spontaneously go somewhere if that's what you want to do. But when you heighten awareness like this, then we have an obligation to assure that you're okay if people think you aren't.
Fletcher says they thoroughly searched the property.
Just to eliminate any concern or worry of the property and surrounding properties, we ran a couple cadaver dogs and the Shreveport fire dogs throughout the entire property. We even went to another property where a location ping had given us a whereabout. We also did that property. Both of those things came up empty.
But what they did locate on the property were things people would normally take on a trip.
Their vehicles are left behind, their clothes are in the house.
He says investigators have spoken with other family members today who say they haven't heard from any of them.
A lot of people upset that we can't find them within their family. That's tirelessly looking for them with us, and you know, we just want to know they're okay.
They've even reached out to the borders.
They're on the facial recognition scans for Border Patrol.
Sheriff Fletcher adds there were no signs of foul play inside the family's home. Jamie Boyum, KLTV 7 News.
The sheriff says they have contacted several other law enforcement agencies who are helping out with this search. You heard the mention of Border Patrol in the story. He tells us all of the family members are American citizens.